Alright, I will talk about the new Ryan Gosling sci-fi film that is titled Project Hail Mary. I myself, I've never read this novel before, okay? So, my current knowledge about the film before I saw it was just the trailer. And I saw the trailer, and if you know me, I really like sci-fi, but I never really got into it, you know? But after I saw the trailer, I was still intrigued, about how this film could unfold and what is it really gonna be about. Because when you saw the trailer, at least the first trailer, what you see is just about Ryan Gosling in space encountering this alien, right? That's pretty much what you see from the trailer, and also the sun is dying. So Ryan Gosling has to find a way from outer space to stop, doomsday from happening. Because if the sun dies, the earth also dies. And after I saw it, man, this film, the first thing that stood out to me was how beautiful this film looks. And by beautiful, I mean it is really good looking. It's a really dazzling looking film. Particularly in the outer space sequences, because there are a lot of outer space sequences in the film, which, they're grand, they're big in scale, and when you watch it on screen, you really feel that scale and also the beauty of space. So this film illustrates space really beautifully. I don't know if it's on par with Interstellar just yet visually, but all I'm saying is that this film looks really good. Every frame of this film looks really good. Even when Ryan Gosling is inside his spaceship, it's really good because the spaceship, if you don't know, they build it up for real. So there's no CGI in the spaceship. They build it up practically, and it just adds a level of realism and practicality that you don't see every day. Most of new films rely heavily on CGI, especially for sci-fi films. They highly require a lot of CGI here and there, but this film really tries to do everything practically. So that alone is just a really good touch to see, and also it is really fresh to see. Alright? So from the visual standpoint, this film looks really dazzling and beautiful. What about the other aspects? What is this film really about? Well, Ryan Gosling plays Rylan Grease. He is a science teacher who is just randomly recruited into this space mission to save Earth and the sun. Now, during his mission, he encounters an alien who he soon names Rocky because he looks like a rock. And this is where the film shines, man. The chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Rocky the alien is a really fun chemistry to see, and it is also very much heartfelt. So the first hook of this relationship is shown through how they communicate with each other. They communicate in a very different language, and Ryan Gosling's character is trying to understand Rocky in a way that Rocky maybe doesn't understand Ryan Gosling's character, But the point is, both of them have same goals: to save their planet. Ryan Gosling has to save Earth, and then this alien has to save his planet and his colony. And I feel like the emotion stems from that, because this relationship, this bond that they have built throughout the runtime of the film, it is pretty much the heart of the film. I'm telling you, if Ryan Gosling doesn't sell this chemistry very beautifully and relatably, I wouldn't feel like this film would have worked. It certainly would have failed if the chemistry isn't there, but thankfully it is. Also, props to Ryan Gosling, because not every actor can carry a movie on his own, in a literal sense, because this is pretty much a Ryan Gosling show, and he has to carry you as an audience with Rocky and everything through this journey. This is a long journey. This is a very long film about one person and an alien, and also about saving the planet. Alright? But this is a very long film. It has a runtime of 2 hours and 40 minutes. This film manages to keep you engaged from the start to finish. Alright? Because the chemistry is just very amazing and also relatable and emotional. Their bond seems very real. Watching this film makes me feel hopeful. Alright, that is the best way that I can put it in words. Now, the visuals are amazing. The character, even though there are just two characters bantering and interacting, it keeps you pretty much engaged throughout all of this runtime, you know. So, what about the other aspects? Maybe some negatives? Yes, of course, this film does have some negatives, but it is very nitpicky because the movie contains a lot of flashbacks that they need to complement the story of the film. But what really bothered me a little bit is that towards the end, you know, the movie's ending in 40 minutes, right? And they just really giving you a lot of flashbacks in the remaining 40 minutes. I feel like the flashback in the second half of the movie could have been more spaced out, but that is just a very little negative. And also, if you worry about the scientific element, well, you got nothing to worry about, because yes, this has a lot of scientific elements because it is very much a sci-fi film, but it is presented to you through a very fun way, you know, a very engaging way, and also that deals with Ryan Gosling's ability to present the scientific sequences so that the audience doesn't get confused. Because I really do think the sci-fi elements of this film is very much easy to digest. Alright, so it is very much easy to understand, so you have nothing to worry about. When there are stakes, you feel the stakes, especially in the third act, you know, when there is a lot of this conflict happening and Ryan Gosling is outer space and everything. That's where the stakes is. But the lead up to that is filled with emotional moments, the relationship building up between Rocky and Ryan Gosling's character, and you buy that. You hope that both of these characters survived this film, you know, and when they both do survive and they get a happy ending in Rocky's planet, you feel relieved as an audience, right? Because I feel like this is a sci-fi film that is very much optimistic, so you don't have to worry about the stakes of the characters dying and all of that stuff. You're just here to enjoy it and also feel optimistic about space, about the world, about the characters, about the people. That is pretty much the whole point of this film when it comes to it. And it is really packaged in a very entertaining, hilarious, exciting ways with groundbreaking visuals. And you know, this film is a really stunning film to look at. So, I will give Project Hail Mary a solid 8.5 out of 10. I think this is a very entertaining sci-fi film. As I mentioned before, I'm not the kind of a sci-fi guy. Alright? I'm not particularly interested in every sci-fi film that I watch. But this film is different. So, 8.5 out of 10. What do you think about Project Hail Mary? Or if you have read the book, maybe there are some differences there. And also, there's this a little bit of a negative point. Some of the scenes do linger a little bit too long than they need to. But then again, it has something to do with Rocky and Chris building up their friendship. So by the end, you fully trusted and you're fully invested in their bond. So that's not a really big problem, but they do. Some of these scenes do linger for a little bit too long, and that affects the pacing just a little bit. But 8.5 out of 10, this is a very amazing film. What do you think about it? Maybe there are some differences in the book, and do you prefer the book or the film? Tell me why. Tell me everything down in the comment section down below, and see you on the next video.